So recently I had a talk with one of my friends about this book, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. And in that we just discussed about the fact that some people think that this book is meant to be read as a novel. If you guys don't know, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius is basically Marcus Aurelius's, who was a Roman emperor in, I don't remember what year it was, but it was something AD. He was basically the Roman emperor at the time and the richest and the most powerful man on the planet, in the whole world. Obviously, the Roman emperor, one of the biggest empires in history, right? So what he used to do was every night, after in a sort of winding down fashion, he used to write a journal. Yes, he used to write a diary like a 12-year-old girl. But instead of what happened on that particular day, what his work day looked like, he wrote down philosophies and ideas that he got throughout the day or throughout the week. And he used to write down ideas when he was on, battle journeys. He used to carry that journal with him during war as well, when he was actively fighting and he was in a war, in battle. And he used to, come into his shed after that day's battle and write what he felt like, write his ideas, write his philosophies. So these are basically a 2000-year-old diary of a 2000-year-old Roman emperor, Marcus Aurelius. And in this, and the reason why people like, for example, Ryan Holiday, he was the person where I got this book recommendation from. He introduced me to this book for the first time, and he was the one who told me to get this. Where's the name of the translator written? Yeah, this Gregory Hayes translation. He told me that this was the most modern one and the best one. So you know what, I got it. So anyway, back to the point. Me and my friend, we were discussing that this book is not meant to be read as a novel. Some people think it's supposed to be read as, for example, this book, the one that just fell down, Animal Farm, like from page 1 to page 99, just in a chronological order. No, absolutely not. This is not a novel. These are his philosophies and his ideas, Marcus Aurelius I'm talking about. And these are separated in in 12 books. If you can see, in 12 books, about 200 pages. And these aren't supposed to be read in order. These are not parts of a novel, of a series. Marcus Aurelius, the series, volume 1, 2, 3. No. These are, how these are supposed to be read. For example, you keep it with you every day. For example, next to your bed, on a chair or a table next to your bed. And when you wake up, or whenever you're bored, you pop open a random page, and read what's in there. The human soul degrades itself, above all, when it does its best to become an abscess, a kind of detached growth in the world, which comprises the nature of all things. For example, I read this one paragraph, and now think about it, contemplate it throughout the day, contemplate it throughout the week. You think about it. These are not easy concepts. These are the entire work of a brilliant man, of a brilliant mind, the Roman emperor who ruled Rome, the most powerful man on the planet. These are not supposed to be easily comprehensible. Please don't think that if you just glance through these book by book, chapter by chapter, page by page, that you'll understand any of them. No, it's not how it's supposed to be, right? So, that's all I had to say. What else? Oh yeah, one more thing. If you actually decide to give this book a go, please do not hesitate to underline stuff on the book, to write stuff on the book. For example, if you say relate to something particularly intensely, please do not be afraid to highlight it, to pen it, scratch it, whatever. It is your book. You don't need to show it to anyone else, right? So there's no need to keep it in pristine condition. So please do not read it like a novel. Read it properly. Contemplate the ideas given in this book. Highlight it. Write down what you understood. At least that's how I do it. And try to apply it in your lives, whichever ideas you think can be applied to. So yeah, that's it. Oh, by the way, this book that just fell down, brilliant book, by the way, Animal Farm by George Orwell. For the longest time, I remember, as far back as I can remember, I first heard about this book when I was like a kid, probably in 8th or ninth grade. And I just did not really feel like giving this book a go because, yeah, I did not really feel like giving this book a go because I just felt like this is a 90 something page book. Like, who cares? This is your short story. I cannot really be bothered to read it. I saw people online, and some of my teachers actually really appreciate this book, really say some positive things about this book. But it never really got to me. I never really never really decided to give it a try. But this year, I actually did decide to give it a try. I read it, I believe, 4 or 5 months ago, this year. And yeah, it's an amazing book. It's a brilliant book by George Orwell, the author of 1984. It's basically about an animal farm. They decide to, the animals, they one day decide that they've had enough, and they actually kick out the owner of the farm. I don't know what he's called, the farmer, the owner, whatever, the owner of the farm. They kick him out because they just decide one random day that they've had enough. And then they actually appoint two pigs to that's why there's a pig on the cover. They appoint two pigs to lead all the animals on the animal farm, to basically become the leaders of the animal farm from that day on. And it just comments on this book. It just comments on how easily power corrupts people in this book, Pigs, but it's obviously a metaphor for people and corruption of power. And in an indirect way, it's actually a criticism on socialism, on communist philosophies. Again, big words, I know, but from what I could gather, I might be wrong. If I am, please correct me in the comments. This was an indirect critique on communism / socialism / Marxism. To me, they're all one and the same, okay? So yeah, do give this book a try. It's really good from a story point of view. It's an entertaining novella, an entertaining story, this 90-page book. But it also might force some people to think about certain topics like corruption in power, corruption due to power, communism, socialism, Marxism, all that shebang. So yeah, that's it, and I'll see you in the next video.